Welcome to Crash Course in Commercial Real Estate. We converted our in-house training program to a podcast to teach you prospecting, negotiation, business planning, and other fundamental skills to become a successful commercial real estate agent. And now, here's your host, Brady Collier.
All right, welcome back to Commercial Real Estate Training. I'm Brady Collier. I'm in Lubbock, Texas, commercial real estate broker with NAI, and I'm in the process of training Shannon and Graham. So thank you guys for being here and for listening to me talk about these things. Today, I want to talk about business planning. And so have either of you ever done a business plan for a business that you were launching?
We had a mock business plan at university.
Okay, cool. Well, that'll be valuable to discuss. They say that failure to plan is planning to fail. I like that quote. I don't know if it's 100% accurate because if you're a really talented, gifted person in commercial real estate, you can just get out there and wheel and deal and you can be considered very successful. But I like the quote because I don't think you hit your maximum potential without a real clear plan on how you're going to get there. If you were going and launching a widget company and you're going to a lender, first thing the lender is going to say is, show me your business plan. I want to see how you plan on making the widgets, selling the widgets, funding the widgets, what's your plan? But realtors are normally, commercial real estate brokers are normally really gifted people, extroverts, type A personality, strong, shoot from the hip type people. And so they undervalue having a plan and sticking to it. And so I'm going to tell you my thoughts on it, and then I'm going to take any questions or any thoughts that you have. So first of all, whenever I was an active real estate broker, every single year, with no exceptions, I would set aside time at the very end of the year, and I would take my business plan, and I would say, how did I execute that plan? And then I would redraft, update, plan for the following year. So the first piece of advice I'd give you on business planning is set aside time to do it. In one of the other episodes, we talked about scheduling rest, scheduling out everything that's important to your business day. And I would say to your business year, these are going to be 2-3 of the most important days of the year where you sit down and say the things that I'm going to talk about in your business plan, your schedule, how many weeks do you plan on working? Because you have freedom, as we talked about in the independent contractor video, you have total freedom over that. So you got to say, how much am I going to work? What hours am I going to work? Who are my clients? And you're going to go through the major, how much money do I want to make? You're going to go through all the major items and you're going to consider it in light of what you did last year. You're going to make your plan for last year. And then you're going to type it out, and then we're going to sit down and we're going to go over it. So that way there's some accountability. Now, you don't have to do this, but this is going to be my recommendation for every new agent is to go over your business plan with somebody to where you're accountable to executing the plan that's very well thought through, to where you're running on the right course. So, first thing, set aside the time. I like to do it at the end of the year because I have a whole year to reflect on how things went, and I can plan the whole next year. So that's point one, is do a plan. Point two, schedule time to do your plan. And then now I want to talk about goals. There's several things that you're going to set goals for. You're going to set goals for time. You're going to set goals for money, how much you want to make in a year. And in our independent contractor thing, we said you're going to eat what you kill. If you work more, if you increase your skills, you're going to make more money. But you have to set a goal saying, here's my splits, here's my time schedule. What's a realistic amount of money for me to make this year, to where you can plan for your taxes, you can plan your vacation, you can plan everything around how much money you want to make. And I want to talk about setting that financial goal. Have you ever set an unattainable goal? Can you think of an example of when you set an unattainable goal in your life? And I know I'm putting you on the spot. Do you want to give me an example?
When I ran track in high school, I set the goal that I was going to run a 56-second 400-meter dash.
Is that really fast?
Yes. That's what people win state doing. Yeah. And I had never broken 60 at the time when I said that. So I did break 60. I got to 59 seconds.
And what was your goal?
56 seconds.
56 seconds. Yes. I guess those 4 seconds are really hard.
Yes.
Okay.
It turns out they were very hard. And it was very frustrating.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be the same way if your very first year, and say that you're young, you're out of university and you don't know that many business people, and you say, okay, I'm going to make $500,000 this year because so-and-so across the office, I heard he was making $500,000. Yeah. Well, that's kind of like setting a 56-second goal if you don't know anybody, and so on and so forth. You have to be very realistic about who you are, who you know, and what the potential is in your business. They say, and you're going to have to help me with this because I'm going to botch it. They say that good goals are SMART. You've heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's see if we can all work together and get what a SMART goal is. What's S? Specific.
Specific, yes.
Yeah, you got to, if you say I want to make over $100,000, that's not specific. If you say I want to make $305,000, that's probably a little bit too specific. But if you say on year 1, I want to make this much money, year 2, I want to make this much money, I should see this kind of growth in my business. So you should set a specific goal, not only in money, but we're going to talk about time next. Okay, so S-M-A-R-T, M.
Measurable.
It's measurable. And so on how much money you make, that's easily measurable. So on the financial, but all of the goals we're going to talk about for your plan should be specific. They should be measurable. And then what was the violation of SMART with the 56-second running goal? It was not
attainable.
It was not attainable. And so that's like me wanting to dunk a basketball. It's completely not attainable. I'm not even setting that goal. And so sometimes people come in with unrealistic goals that aren't attainable. And instead of motivating you to press forward and achieve greatness, they demotivate you because you give up on them. You're like, I could never do that. So they just walk away. So specific, measurable, attainable.
Realistic.
I wanted to say realistic, but
That sounds very similar to attainable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. And then T, what is T?
Time.
Time oriented. And so this, I'm going to tell you to do it. You can do it by year and you can do it by quarter. So on some of your goals, you're going to set, for example, prospecting goals. You're going to say in your business plan, and that should be also specific. It should be measurable. It should be attainable or realistic, and it should be time oriented. And so within a week, I'm going to make this many outbound calls, and you're going to say that. And then I'm going to meet with you at the end of the quarter and say, hey, of the last X number of weeks, how many of them did you hit your prospecting goal on outbound calls? And that's one of the items in your business plan is how much prospecting you're going to do. And it's measurable based on outgoing calls. And we don't normally count every email and all of this. We set a metric that we can track. And so making sure that all of the goals in there, your prospecting goal, and let me go ahead and move to time. Time is one of the hardest ones because as we talked about, I'm not tracking your time. Your time is your time. You're running your own company. So as a matter of discipline, some people have to set goals. I'm only going to work 40 hours a week. I'm not going to work past 5:30 or 6 because they're so driven. We're always trying to pull them back into something that's sustainable so they don't burn out over the first several months. There's other people who, for some reason, they just can't get themselves out of bed in the morning to go to work. And they have to set a goal. I'm going to be there by 8:30 every day, and I'm going to push it through, and I'm going to work till 5:30 every day. So you have to be a good judge of yourself and say, with my time goals, what's my struggle, and how can I set specific, measurable, attainable goals? One time, my former broker, he told me, he says, Brady, on your prospecting, you just got to imagine that whatever the total hours you work in a year, divided into the total dollars you made in a year, that is your hourly rate. And in every phone call you make, you just have to see that call coming in, like a $20 bill, a $50 bill, a $100 bill coming out of the bottom for your prospecting at the bottom of the phone. And so you can just see a stack of bills, but you're making the money when you're prospecting, but you're not collecting it till later. He said you have to find the way that it becomes realistic, measurable, and attainable to you to be disciplined on your use of time and to be disciplined on your prospecting, which those are the two key things. But it's not just your hourly work, it's your annual work. Shannon, just on the spot, how many vacations do you think that you were going to take in the next calendar year, meaning not 2021, but 2022?
3.
3. And what are those for? Do you know?
Christmas.
You're going to have a Christmas vacation,
Spring break.
a spring
and
break
something
trip
in the
with the
summer.
kids, and then something in the summer. Do you have any clarity on your
I was
travel
going to say
plans?
0.
I don't know if that's realistic, but maybe it is realistic for you. It's certainly not realistic for me. Dad
Have more
of 5
fun.
kids, wife, she's expecting vacations. For sure summer, for sure spring break, ski trip, whatever it may be, Christmas to go see family. And so if you know you're going to go see family, don't say in your business plan that you're going to work 51 weeks, 50 weeks of the year. Be real with yourself and say, I know I'm going to take off this much time for this vacation, this much time. I'm going to be off for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be off for Christmas. I'm going to be off for New Year's. I'm going to be off for spring break. During the summer, I'm going to take this trip. Plus, I'm going to be out of the office for professional training, which I'm going to talk about education here in a second as a part of your plan. And so when you look at your year, be realistic with how many weeks you're going to work. So that way your income goals are realistic based on what you're actually going to do. Okay. Next thing on your business plan that I want to see is how you're investing in yourself. And let me tell you why. Commercial real estate brokers all start where y'all are, where, with no offense intended, they don't know anything. They don't know anything about anything. But they learn very quickly so much about commercial real estate. So that first year is a real steep learning curve. But a lot of brokers level off after that first year, and their skills stay a year, 18 months, wherever they level off, because they stop investing in themselves. And that's the death nail towards growth within your business. Because what you should see on your business, you should see your income being like this, consistently growing. And the reason is because your skills are getting better through experience, and your knowledge, you can only learn so much at a time. But you should continue investing in yourself to where if you're working with developers, you're taking development classes. I'm going to tell everybody in our company, we all work towards our CCIM, Certified Commercial Investment Member, because it's the best real estate organization in the world with great professionals. And I tell everybody, but if you're going to specialize in land, then Urban Land Institute has a designation. If you're going to focus on industrial and office, then SIOR. But if you don't schedule that in your 5-year plan, in your 1-year plan, if you don't say, I'm going to take this many CCIM classes, this many SIOR classes, I'm still going entrepreneurial coaching, I'm going to conferences, and I'm taking classes on my business. And I've been at it for 20 years because I really firmly believe that the more you invest in yourself, the more your skills grow, the more your income grows, and the easier things become, the more capable, qualified, knowledgeable that you are. So I am telling you that in this video to say, work that back into your business plan, to say I'm taking off not only for Thanksgiving or Christmas, summer, and spring break, but I'm also going to be out of the office for 2 weeks a year, or for a week a year, or maybe a blended online learning and travel if you don't want to be away from the kids or whatever it may be. Schedule in and plan not only the time, but also the money to invest in yourselves. And you've got to reduce that to writing. Set a goal that's smart regarding getting your CCIM. Within 3 years, I'm going to get my CCIM. Well, if that's the case, and there's 4 major classes, you've got to schedule those over your first couple of years, and then schedule time to do your portfolio and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the continual growth and education portion of this, but I feel like it's super important. Any thoughts or feedback on growth as commercial real estate brokers?
I think it really resonates as a new hire to see the partner of the company still taking entrepreneurial classes. I mean, I don't mean to brag on you, but it really is admirable to see that when you've made it, in some sense of the term, you're still working on your craft, and that's really resonates with me and my business now. Like, how much more should I be working on that? I
appreciate you saying that, Graham. That's very kind. The things I'm doing now to invest in myself, they're super different than the things I was doing when I was your age invest in myself, because at your age, at your stage of your careers, you really just need the technical side, the technical knowledge. For example, CCIM, you're going to talk about all of these different financial analysis. So your clients have been selling and buying and leasing real estate for 20 years. This is your first couple of transactions, but you have to have a minimum level of understanding of how to read their financial analysis and how to tell them what the returns are going to be if they invest in this. That's technical knowledge. And so the first part of your career is going to be a huge accumulation of technical knowledge to where you can keep pace or outpace your clients and your competitors to make sure you're always a value add. Because as long as you're growing in your business, you're going to be a value to your clients, and they're always going to come back and use you again. Kyle, you've seen Kyle make a ton of calls. Kyle is always adding value to every client he talks to because he's such an expert in the field of what he does. So that's the first several years. And then later on in your career, you'll become more of an expert in thinking, strategy, growth, new markets, such as that.
I have a very specific question.
Yeah.
When you're talking about prospecting and your business plan, because I've been thinking about this, what's realistic for someone who just started in prospecting per week? Like, how many phone calls per week? What is realistic for somebody who's 6 weeks in?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's going to be different for every person. So for people out there watching, yours may be very different than Shannon's, maybe very different than yours. I can give the last several people that we have brought on who've been with us a couple of years that are on a great track of growth in income. They're making 150 to 200 outgoing prospecting calls weekly. And that's spread across time blocking in 5 days. So if they're doing 150, 30 calls a day outgoing, and they're time blocking. And let me tell you, Shannon, we're going to get into the whole thing on prospecting. We have 2 whole videos on it that we're about to do. But it takes an immense amount of time to prepare for the prospecting. And so when you're doing your time, for every hour you're prospecting, you probably have 4 to 5 of preparation to get all the call numbers and all of that. So my first answer would be shoot for 150, 200. It gets harder and harder the busier you get to dedicate that much time. But when guys' income drops because they have a soft month on commission, I'll see their prospecting numbers go up because they realize they need to be pounding the pavement hard. And so I see guys do up to 300 outgoing calls a week. But then when they get crazy busy with 4 closings happening in a month, maybe it dips a little and they're doing 100 calls, something like that, 25 a day, 20 a day. So, yeah, we're going to have a whole thing on prospecting, so I'll get back to that. Good question, though. Okay. Also, you need to define who you're going to be. So you're going to start generalist, and you're going to be doing every real estate opportunity you can. Our goal for you in your first year or 2 years is to do as many deals as possible. But after that, you're going to become a specialist to make sure you're adding value to, and you're going to know exactly who your client is and exactly what kind of property type that you're doing. So right now, we just want a volume of deals. Every deal you can do it to where you get experience and become more and more valuable. But in your business plan in years to come, you're going to say, these are the clients. Here's my top 10 clients from last year, and you may list them in your business plan, how much of your revenue is associated with them, and who you would like to add to your top 10 this upcoming year. And you're going to strategically think, what do I need to do to land those people as clients to double my income? And so those are the kinds of things: who you want to be, specialization, and who you want to serve, clients. And so one time, a commercial real estate broker from here, when I was in the development, I'm still in the development business, when I got into the development business, he said, hey, you were number 4 on my clients last year as far as the deals that I did with you. And this year, I want you to be in the top 3 on my list. He had thought through his clients that he wanted to serve so clearly. He knew who was his top 10 and who he wanted to do more business with the next year. And I was like, great, let's do more business. But he had thought it through, and I thought that was really respectable. Okay, let's see. Shannon, I gave you a copy, and I didn't give Graham one yet, but I will. I gave you a copy of a business plan from one of our other agents. Were there any aspects of that business plan specifically that you had questions on that you thought were, because that one was really specific of here's how I want to do business. I want to be able to look in the mirror at the end of the year and know that I treated people this way. And he went through the character side of who he wanted to be to plan around that. He included certain personal aspects of his life. I'm going to do this, for myself and so on and so forth. So it was really detailed. Did you have any thoughts or feedback or questions on that plan after reviewing it?
I don't have any thoughts or questions on that one. I did look at other people's, and since then, just thinking through of what I've seen is how can I meet people? How can I get into the business world? So this week I joined the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce, the ambassador program. Just thinking through, I did see that on someone else's plan of how to cross paths with more business people. And I thought that was helpful.
Yeah, and it really depends on what you're doing, because if you're an apartment broker, then those owners are all somewhere else, but starting out generally and wanting to do a lot of deals, then a lot of those decision makers are local, being more active in the community. You can just plan around that. Whereas if you're an apartment broker and you're just going to be doing massive amount of outgoing calls, maybe you schedule to go to the National Multifamily Conference, which there's one in different markets around the country. So whatever it is that you're doing, you just have to really put thought into planning it out well, because failure to plan is planning to fail or to not achieve your maximum potential. And what we want is for you to achieve your maximum potential. That's why we're talking about this. All right. If you have other questions on business planning, come and see me. And I look forward to receiving your business plans. It's October 1st right now, so you can kind of try to plan out the rest of this year. But come December or January, first week of January, I'm going to meet with you to review your plan to see what you're going to do next year.
I'll be ready.
Sounds great.